The Secret of Newberry Hills. In the frost-touched town of Newberry Hills, where the winter winds whispered through the streets like secrets, Grace and Logan felt the first stirrings of the holiday magic. The brother and sister duo, known in their neighborhood for their curious natures and fearless adventures, were about to stumble upon a mystery that would change their Christmas forever. The first hint of the mystery came one chilly evening as the pair walked home from school, their breath forming little clouds in the cold air. Every house they passed was decked in festive lights and wreaths, but it was the presence of beautifully wrapped packages on several doorsteps that caught their attention. These weren't the ordinary deliveries seen around the holidays. These were special, each bearing unique handcrafted details and no sign of a sender. "Look, Logan," Grace pointed out as they slowed down by Mrs. Anderson's house, where a package wrapped in shimmering gold paper sat on the doorstep. "Didn't Mr. Elwood get one just like that yesterday? And the Thompsons the day before?" Logan, with a conspiratorial gleam in his eye, nodded. "Yeah, and none of them knew where the gifts came from. They just appeared." The mystery deepened that night when, unable to curb their curiosity, Grace and Logan camped out in their living room, the front window offering a perfect view of the street. The clock had just chimed midnight when a figure cloaked in a heavy red coat and a hood that obscured their face stepped into the glow of the street light. They moved with a quiet purpose, leaving a package on the doorstep of the house across the street, then disappearing as quickly as they had appeared. "That has to be the secret Santa of Newberry Hills," Grace whispered, her eyes wide with the thrill of their discovery. "Yes, but who is it?" Logan wondered aloud, his mind racing with possibilities. The next day, armed with a newfound determination to solve the mystery, Grace and Logan began their investigation. They started by discreetly asking around, trying to gather any clues about the identity of the mysterious figure. But as the snow continued to blanket the town, their quest seemed more daunting. However, their luck changed when they noticed a pattern. All the houses that received gifts had one thing in common. They were all on the route Mr. Nicholas, their elderly neighbor, took during his rare walks around town. Fueled by this clue, the siblings decided to keep a watchful eye on Mr. Nicholas, hoping to catch him in the act. Their surveillance paid off sooner than expected, revealing a truth that was as surprising as it was delightful. The revelation that their elusive neighbor Mr. Nicholas was the town's secret Santa only fueled Grace and Logan's enthusiasm. With a mix of reverence and excitement, they decided to confront him, not to scold, but to offer their help in continuing the cherished tradition. It was late afternoon when they approached Mr. Nicholas's quaint cottage, its walls heavy with ivy and the windows glowing warmly against the winter's chill. The old man answered the door, a look of surprise crossing his weathered features as he saw the children standing there, eyes bright with secrets and smiles. "Mr. Nicholas," Grace began, her voice trembling slightly with the gravity of their discovery, "we know about the gifts. We saw you." For a moment, the air was thick with tension. Then Mr. Nicholas sighed, a small, knowing smile breaking through his initial shock. "I suppose it was only a matter of time before someone found out. Come in, let's talk." Inside, surrounded by walls lined with shelves of books and an array of curious artifacts collected over many years, they sat down as Mr. Nicholas began to share his story. He spoke of how the tradition started decades ago, a small gesture to help those in the community who were less fortunate, or to simply bring a smile during the holiday season. He revealed his own past, touched by kindness when he needed it most, inspiring him to pass it on in secret. "But I am old now, and this year was to be my last," Mr. Nicholas admitted, his voice tinged with regret. "I feared the tradition would end with me." "That's why we're here," Logan interjected eagerly. "We want to help to make sure it doesn't end. Please, let us help you this Christmas." Mr. Nicholas eyed them for a long moment, then nodded, the decision seeming to lift a weight from his shoulders. Very well. It's not an easy task, mind you. It requires stealth, care, and a generous heart. Thus began their grand adventure. Grace, Logan, and Mr. Nicholas spent the next few days planning their route and preparing gifts with care. They gathered items from around the community, repurposing and wrapping them beautifully. Each night, they secretly delivered the gifts, the children's youthful energy breathing new life into Mr. Nicholas's tradition. However, not all went smoothly. One evening, as they were about to place a gift on the porch of a particularly grumpy old man known as Mr. Hawthorne, they nearly got caught. A creak on the snowy path under Logan's foot sent them scurrying into the shadows, hearts pounding. It was a close call that taught them the true challenge of their task. Through these escapades, the trio grew close, their mission forging a bond that went beyond the season's giving. Each successful delivery, each hidden giggle from behind snow-dusted bushes, and each light in a recipient's window that brightened upon discovering a gift, brought them more joy than they could have imagined. As Christmas Eve approached, the whole of Newberry Hills seemed to shimmer with a special glow, the kind that only comes from shared joy and community spirit. Grace, Logan, and Mr. Nicholas had one final round of deliveries to make, and it was set to be their most ambitious yet. Their plan was simple yet bold. They would deliver gifts to every single house in their neighborhood, ensuring no one was left out of the festivities. They had spent days preparing, wrapping gifts in colorful papers and writing heartfelt notes to go with each one. The air was thick with excitement and the sweet scent of pine as they loaded their sled borrowed from Mr. Nicholas's garage full of presents. The night was crisp, the stars twinkling above like 1,000 tiny eyes watching over them. They moved from house to house, the silence of the night cloaking their movements. At every stop, they left behind not just a package, but a little bit of magic, restoring and reinforcing the bonds within their community. With each gift placed carefully at a doorstep, they felt not just the thrill of secrecy, but the warmth of knowing they were part of something larger than themselves. However, as the clock neared midnight, an unexpected challenge arose. A sudden snowstorm swept through Newberry Hills, the wind howling like it too wanted to keep their secret. Visibility dropped, and the cold bit through their layers. They huddled together, considering their next move. It seemed as if their plan would falter at the last hurdle. But Mr. Nicholas, seeing the children's disappointment, gathered them close. "My dear children," he said, his voice firm against the storm. "Tonight, we have already given more than gifts. We have given hope and joy. Let's not be disheartened by a bit of weather. We are almost done, and together we can finish this." Bolstered by his words, they pressed on, their determination turning into a force as fierce as the storm itself. They made their last few deliveries, the storm abating as if in respect to their resolve. By the time the last gift was set down, the sky was clearing, and the first hints of dawn were painting the horizon. Christmas morning broke over Newberry Hills like a promise. When the town awoke to the surprise gifts, the air buzzed with wonder, gratitude, and a myriad of guesses about the identity of the secret Santa. Meanwhile, Grace, Logan, and Mr. Nicholas watched from his cozy living room, their hearts full, their mission complete. In the end, Mr. Nicholas decided to mentor Grace and Logan, passing on the mantle of Secret Santa. Newberry Hills had its magic back, and with it, 2 new guardians ready to ensure the tradition lived on, fostering a spirit of giving that would last for generations.